I'd love to show more, but I've already shown off quite a lot, and I don't want to spoil too much more. Next time I do one of these reports, I hope that I'll be done with the lab so that we can move on to the rest of the game again. So thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed this update, and I'll see you on the next one. Until then, bye! Hello everyone, so welcome back to another video. That's how I finished off the last one, and then since then I released the trailer, so I'm going to go over a few things with the trailer first, and then I'll tell you where I'm up to and what's been happening. So, let's get on with this, shall we? So the trailer's something I've had in the works for a while now, and I've had to explain it a bunch of times to people. It goes over certain parts of the full animation. I wanted to have the full animation done before I did this. There's always a worry that people will do projects and get really excited with them, and then post up trailers way before they're done, and end up not finishing the project. With me only really having about 11 or so weeks left before I need to finish at least my part of the voice acting, I thought I would put the trailer out to try and get attention from people so I can get some help from it. So what we have here is cherry-picked selective parts that show you little bits of what I've worked on. Not all of it, obviously, because I don't want to wave my hand too much, but what it shows off is little details from the animation, from the player's perspective, a little bit. And then in other areas, it shows main key points of the storyline from the areas that I've got mostly done or completed with. So it's stuff like the ruins is 100% done. The True Lab is about 95% done at the time of doing this video. But we see other areas, like for instance, if we go back here a little bit, we've got Fallen Down, which is before the ruins. Then we've got Alphys's lab, which is kind of a cut-in. We've got Waterfall here with the statue and Undyne. And then we have the end of the ruins tutorial. The actual end of the game, back to Flowey and Fallen Down. We have the end of the ruins again with Toriel. Then we have inside of Toriel's house here, where she looks incredibly happy. Waterfall again. This one, which is Snowdin, obviously. The first part is where Sans follows you. And then the other bit is Papyrus. Then we quick cut to the ruins again with the spider bake sale. Then we've got the True Lab again. The VHS tapes, which are technically from the True Lab. More True Lab encounters, mainly because those are stuff that I've been doing quite a lot recently. Snowdin again. The ruins again, and then Waterfall finishes off with Fallen Down, which is part of the intro to the entire thing. But in the background, I used music by Time McGrath, I think it was. Just let me check here, just to make sure. Yeah, Time McGrath. Mainly just because I'd settled on this 8 months ago when I heard the track. If you've not heard it yet, go listen to it. I'll put a link down below for it. But yeah, I really liked the song in question, and I thought, right, I'll use that, because he'd even said you can use it if you want in his description. So I thought it'll fit really well. The overall trailer comes across, at least to me, as very heartfelt and very personal. And I like the bit that I actually cherry-picked was the very end of the track, primarily just because of the lyrics for it. So yeah, I dropped this early, and this was when I was also working on the majority of the True Lab. I had lots of scenes for this already picked to kind of fit in with the music, and then did a lot of messing around trying to get timing for other segments done with it. But anyway, enough of this. Let's get on to the actual bits in the True Lab that I've completed since day 52, because I've been gone for about a month working on stuff, so I figured, might as well at least detail what I've been doing, right? When it came to the VHS tapes, I did them in order, starting with Toriel and Asgore's one first. And to do this, I ended up making a bunch of new shape keys for Asgore's face. The model was provided to me by Floral Pikmin, as usual. So we got Asgore with some new facial expressions, and then I tried to put him in his bed for the actual scene. The problem was that when I tried emulating cloth physics, it didn't go so well. So I just did everything by hand, and then started trying to get the motions based around Toriel having the camera in her hands, so we were looking more at Asgore most of the time, resulting in Asgore needing to look very tired if possible. But people were kind of giving me feedback and saying he didn't look tired and looked a little bit different, is the best way of putting it. So I ended up having to go back and change his facial expression to make him seem pretty tired, considering in this scene Toriel's waking him up. We made him look really emotive as a result, and I also give him his eye color based off his attacks at the end of the game. And overall, I think he looks very lovable now. We also made the overall scene look pretty dark, using not exactly like flat dark lighting like black. I ended up going with like a purple because I thought it looked really good and still give us a little bit of light to work with so we can actually see what's going on. With VHS 2 onwards, they all focus on Kara and Asriel, so that was a lot of animating both of them. Mainly Kara for VHS 2, as it focuses on him while Asriel kind of has the camera in first person. There's a little bit of visual trickery here, and then a lot of messing around with particle effects and lighting to get it to look nice. And I'm changing the location each time. This takes place in Fallen Down. I really do like how this one ended up looking. So when it came to VHS 3, I ended up animating Asriel a little bit to get the camera right in first person, and then ended up animating Kara doing all of the hair to make it sway in the wind and messing around with particle effects and lighting again to make the scene very almost magical. That's basically what the underground is filled with. There was a couple of camera tricks here and there, but when I was going through it, it was nice being able to slowly tweak everything again and make it look a lot better than its initial start. Normally, when I do all these animations, it's a very rough start, but I do like it when you get to see the final thing and it looking really nice. So yeah, it conveys a lot of emotion, and I'm really happy about that because I really love focusing on facial features and just trying to get across the emotions that the characters are feeling. It was during this time period as well that I actually went back and looked at the intro, and I wasn't too happy with some parts of it. Plus, there were other things where I needed to edit, such as finding actual fan interpretations of Frogget actually having color in its character sprite. That's one thing I've been having a lot of trouble with, is finding colored sprites of every character so I can get them accurate. So we ended up going back, changing the textures on Frogget and making it look accurate. And then, as well as doing that, I also revised the intro with Flowey in Fallen Down. So, what we have is the original version, which honestly feels very stiff. I was just getting used to animating characters' facial expressions and stuff at this point. This is about 8 months ago. Compared to the actual version I put in the trailer, which looks a lot better now and is more emotive. So, I'm really happy with that. With the tone of the VHS tapes changing as we go on, 4 and 5 become a lot more serious, so it was then focused on both Asriel and Kara a lot more, with a lot more emotion put into the scenes. As a result, I ended up starting with Asriel and really doing everything around him. We can only see the back of him from this shot, and it's more focused at the end on Kara's facial expressions and reactions. So it was a case of timing Asriel and getting his emotions and sort of body motion done so you could easily tell what he's thinking and feeling while not overdoing it. So I've had to dial it back a little bit in some instances because he's pretty timid, he's not aggressive. And then what I ended up doing was, there's a little detail to make the scene feel a little bit sadder. We've got a family photo that I ended up creating in the throne room scene, which can then be seen in the left side of the scene in the picture frame. And then, of course, it's just timing Kara's body movement and facial expressions and lip syncing to what we've already done with Asriel. And then obviously adding in the lighting and everything. It looks really nice. I really do enjoy it, especially the reflection of Asriel in the picture frame. And then for VHS 5, it's mainly, again, the same kind of thing. I ended up actually doing all of Asriel's lip sync and facial expressions and everything first. And then what I did was I matched that with some of my own voiceover for the lines, which I'm going to replace later on when I finally managed to get voice actors to help out. And then what I did was I reused a couple of the animations from VHS 4 to kind of show a little bit of frustration and reluctance on Asriel's part. And then really it was just a case of tweaking the lighting in the scene to make it not too dark, but just dark enough, because the way that the kid's bedroom is set up, the light in the room is actually on Asriel's side of the room. So on Kara's side, obviously it's going to be a lot darker. So when you look at the scene, obviously there's a lot of shadow cast on Kara, but with a little bit of lighting there just around the scene to kind of make it not look too dark, so you can actually see all the little details going on in the scene. So after doing the VHS tapes, I then came back to animate the rest of the True Lab. A lot of it was doing Alphys's entries first and really getting a feel for how she would move during the last two proper entries in the same hallway as Reaper Bird. And then there was a lot of me going backwards and forwards and trying to find out how I would do the fight with Reaper Bird, primarily because the way that I originally wanted it was pretty faithful to the game, but I just couldn't figure out a way of making that work and making it look interesting, so I ended up taking inspiration from Evangelion and also from other bits that I'd missed out or not done. So it was stuff like the Bad Memories fight that I wanted to incorporate with the Reaper Bird fight. So what we have is this weird sort of pseudo mind games kind of thing going on. That honestly I really like and tells a lot of the backstory as to why the player character's there, really. And then we've got escaping that sequence, which I actually really like and ties in nicely with the ending that I've still yet to detail. Probably just leave it for the full animation. But then we've got obviously getting into the generator room, which I really liked animating and just making it look pretty innocent. Mainly because it's Frisk walking around, and then doing an animated texture for the generator coming back on. And then that's where I'm up to right now, is literally just at the end of the lab, just working in the final sequence with Alphys and the Amalgamates, and then doing the last entries with details of Flowey's origin in them, and then the lift going back up to New Home. And then I'm done with the True Lab, and then I can get back to work on Snowdin and everywhere else. I hope you've enjoyed these. I will continue to post these in future. So yeah, I'll see you on the next one. And until then, thank you very much for watching again. Hope you've enjoyed all the content so far. Links in the description. Bye!